I'm Edwin C. Sanders II. I'm the senior servant at Metropolitan Interdenominational Church in Nashville, Tennessee, and my pronouns are he and his. Well, I have been involved in doing work that in one way or another is a part of my calling in life, and that is to be a minister, a clergy person, a pastor, a senior servant. I'm very intentional about the title senior servant because I do believe that what I am called to do is to serve. I think this convening is important because we do have a significant history that has evolved throughout the time frame in which this disease has been a part of our community experience. But in too many instances, there are pieces of the equation, of the puzzle. There are pieces of the fabric that has been woven in terms of our efforts to effectively address these issues. And what we've done is decided to stop and say, look, let's make sure that we are including, let's make sure that we're reflecting, let's make sure that we're incorporating, let's make sure that we're not neglecting or being dismissive of any of the steps that we've taken, which years ago might have seemed more simple and not necessarily as significant as they are now, in terms of appreciating the fact that each and every one of those steps has been important, each and every one of those persons whose lives has been affected in any way, and the way in which we can come up with the fabric that does represent the experience as well as the benefit of the expertise, the knowledge, the growth, the learning that's ours as a result of the ways in which during this time we've been able to lay a foundation and bring the basic pieces, the basic threads, the basic building blocks together. And now we're talking about how we are very serious about putting those pieces together in a way that allow us to take that next step, that big step that does legitimately allow us to come to a place where we might be able to talk about ending an epidemic in a way that is inclusive of all and alienating to none. I think the most important thing for us to do in this movement is to make sure we define what we're doing in a way that allows everyone to have a point of entry into involvement. Making sure that we are not so focused on single issue kinds of thinking that we don't see how it is that persons whose concerns might be relatively driven by a particular passion that they have, but understanding that all of those things are connected. There is this whole business of intersectionality. There is the way in which we find ourselves having to appreciate the fact that the circle of inclusion has to be one that's big enough to welcome all and to allow all who are a part of it to have voices that are affirmed, voices that are valued, and voices that are celebrated.